guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's What I Eat in a Day as a Diabetic. It's also turned out into an impromptu What I Eat on a rest day because I've decided to take a rest day today, which wasn't planned, but I will go into all the decisions behind that a bit later. I've also made a couple of changes to my basal insulin recently and I will again explain all that later, but right now I am really hungry, so I'm going to go ahead and have my breakfast. I've done my scan and I was 7.1 and I've done my pre-bolus. So no need for correction this morning, which is nice. My breakfast is going to be 60 grams of oats with a nice big spoon of cocoa powder, some sugar-free sweetener, some partially unfrozen frozen berries and some honey. So that all adds up to 54 grams of carbs, which for me is between 7 and 8 units of insulin. But I'm going to go on a nice little walk straight after breakfast, so I'm only going to have 6 units just because walks do tend to bring my blood sugar down a fair bit, but I do like to go on a little walk if I'm not going to be doing a workout in the morning, just to get my body going and get my mind going. So I'm going to go down and make my breakfast and I will catch up with you guys very shortly. I would go into a couple of things I mentioned this morning. So in terms of my rest day, basically I've just got a lot on at the moment and I was thinking about it and I haven't actually taken like an extra unplanned rest day this whole isolation, just because I've been like, well, I'm in isolation, what else am I going to do? But actually I do have quite a lot of stuff going on in terms of just finishing off my uni course, and I've been doing a couple of online courses as well which will have deadlines. And thinking about it in normal life, normally I'd take 1 or 2 extra rest days a month just because like social plans and things crop up, and I haven't done an isolation for like 6 weeks, so I thought if I could just get a lot done today and have a rest day, I'll feel a lot better going into the week. So that's why I'm having an impromptu rest day today. And in terms of what I eat on a rest day in comparison to training days, it doesn't really change too much. I used to just have the exact same thing on a rest day and a training day. Since doing this online sports nutrition course, I have changed it slightly, but not in terms of what I eat, more in terms of how I eat and the timings. So on a training day, I will be making sure to time my foods to fuel my workout properly, so making sure to have enough carbs before and protein after, whereas on a rest day I'll just eat those kind of things when I want. There's no kind of, it's just a bit more freedom in terms of timings, but in terms of the content of my food it's pretty much the same. So I personally track macros, and if you don't know what that is tracking your intake of protein, carbs and fats, which are our source of calories, and you track them with a specific goal, whether that's fat loss or muscle gain or maintaining. If you want a bit more of an explanation into that and you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, then make sure you keep an eye out for my next video, which is going to be an explanation of tracking macros versus eating intuitively or clean eating or whatever else you want to call it. But personally, for me, whenever I change between these phases of either eating in an excess of calories or a bulk to put on muscle, or eating in a deficit of calories to lose fat, or being in a cut, my insulin needs really change. So when I'm bulking, I get a lot more insulin resistant and have to increase my basal. When I'm cutting, I get a lot more insulin sensitive, I can have a lot of hypos and I have to decrease my basal. So I have personally been cutting since around January, but not in a big deficit, because I've been at uni and in my final term, and whenever I cut anyway I always make the deficit as small as possible because I want it to be sustainable and I want it to be healthy and I want to feel good whenever I am changing my body composition. So I've been cutting slowly, but when isolation started I did increase the deficit slightly, the biggest deficit I've ever done, just because I'm at home, I haven't got such a big need for energy, and so I was feeling completely fine and completely awake and alert with less calories on board. About 1.5 to 2 weeks ago, I started to get really tired all the time and decided to increase my calories slightly because, like I said, I never want a change in body composition to come to the detriment of my health and how I'm feeling and my mood. So I increased my calories slightly, but still in a deficit, so still in like the fat loss stage, although kind of holding it steady at the moment. So because I was still in a deficit, I didn't think it would change my insulin sensitivity, but clearly it has. For the past few days, I've been going really high overnight and also having lots of stubborn highs during the day and having to really try to not spike and often failing. So I've decided it is time to change my basal doses. Basal 2 quickly, just in case I am wrong and I'm going high for other reasons like dehydration, or because, like I said, I've got lots of courses going on, I've been quite stressed, and I've also been sat down a lot more. So the last few days I've really focused on drinking a lot, walking a lot, and I'm still going high. So I have decided to change my basal. I upped it by 2 units last night and I did unfortunately go low, but there could be another factor that came into that, so I'm going to try it again tonight. But for today I just increased my basal by 1 unit and I'm going to see what happens. So this will be an interesting one for you guys, seeing how my blood sugar reacts, because I personally don't know what's going to happen today. So we could be dropping like crazy, or we could have some stubborn highs. But keep watching to the end and we'll see whether I was right, whether I do need to change my basal, or whether I need to go back to the drawing board and start again. So annoyingly, I have actually ended up going high. Like I said, I've been having a lot of stubborn highs recently, so I probably shouldn't have reduced my insulin before my walk, but that insulin would have been perfect this time last week, but clearly not now. I've gone up to 10.7, so not too bad, and it's not rising anymore, but I will go ahead and have 1 unit of my fast-acting insulin just to bring that back down into range. Time for lunch. I'm actually really hungry because I got kind of stuck at the computer for a while and didn't notice the time. So I'm gonna rustle up a little makeshift pasta dish. It's a bit of an odd one because we're like the day before the food shop, so you don't have too much in the house. But I'm gonna do 70 grams of pasta with some tomato and mascarpone sauce, with some fried onions and peppers and some pre-cooked little chicken bits on there, about 75 grams of chicken, and then for dessert I'm going to have some fruit. So that all adds up to 45 grams of carbs, which is 6 units of insulin for me. I have scanned and I'm 5.6 with an arrow going down, so because it's going to take a while to cook, I'll hold off on my insulin for a while. I did spike a bit earlier, like I said I was 10, I did go up to 12, and now I'm on the way back down. So I will keep an eye on that and inject maybe closer to 5 minutes before eating as soon as the arrow is going down, and I'll have either 5 or 6 units depending on my scan nearer at the time. Since we had lunch, but I'm really hungry today, so I'm going to have my afternoon snack now. And for me, I'm going to have, we've got this really good, like that squishy thick white bread, so I'm going to make some toast and some butter and marmalade and an apple. So that's about 45 grams of carbs, which for me would be between 5 and 6 units of insulin, because I slightly decrease my insulin ratios in the afternoon and for dinner compared to lunch. But I react a bit strangely to white bread. I normally have whole grain, but we've got this like really nice stuff in, so I'm going to have that today. So I'm going to actually only have 4 units and then just keep monitoring it, and then if it goes up I'll have another one, just because I don't want to risk a low, and I know for me white bread is one of those foods where it doesn't all seem to hit for me. So we will see how that goes, and I will of course update you. I reckon I'm going to go high because that seems to be the pattern recently, but I also really don't want to go low. So it's about an hour since I had my snack. I have been slowly rising since having it, but now hit 7.3 and the arrow is still going up, so I'm going to have 1 unit of insulin. I seem to absorb carbs and insulin and everything really slowly, so for me food and insulin takes like an hour to 2 hours to have its final effect, so I always end up having to wait around quite a long time, which can get annoying, but that's just me and how I react. So yeah, I'm gonna have 1 unit of insulin, but I'm thinking that should hopefully be enough, but I guess we'll see within the next hour, hopefully. So, like I said earlier, food seems to take a really long time to kick in for me, so it's now 3.5 hours since I had my snack, and now my blood sugar decides to rise. So I'm not sure if this is anything to do with my basal, because it has been fine all day until now, or if it's just because I've been sat down for a long time. But it's still really annoying because I literally haven't eaten anything, and I'm like, hello, can you like kick in earlier so I know what I'm doing? So I'm 10.6, but the arrow is going directly up, and it has that like warning thing on where it's like glucose going high, and it makes you feel really crap and panicked. So it's probably like an hour till dinner-ish, so I'm gonna have just 1 unit because I don't know, even though the arrow is going up, I don't want to crash, and I'm thinking maybe if I just start moving around a bit it might come down. It's not dehydration because I've been drinking loads today. So even though it's 3.5 hours since I had my snack and I've been steady for 3.5 hours, I'm now going to have 1 unit of insulin because I'm going up, and then we're probably, next time you see me, we'll be prepping for dinner. Me and James are cooking tonight and we're doing fajitas, so I will of course show you guys that and my blood sugar before dinner too, and I'm hoping 1 unit of insulin will get it back down again, but who knows. By the time I had even finished recording that last clip, my blood sugar had already risen to 11.1 and the arrow is still straight up, so I ended up having 2 units of insulin and decided to go on a little walk again. I hadn't been planning to go on 2 walks today, but I think that is why my blood sugars are going up so much. My body is so sensitive to activity, which is kind of annoying because obviously I'm an active person and I enjoy going out and going for walks and working out, but some days like today, when I have a lot to do and if I'm a bit tired, I don't really want to be filling my day with activity all the time, but diabetes says I have to. So yeah, I've just gone for another little walk. I am a bit what because I had my insulin and then decided to do a walk because my insulin takes so long to kick in. If I don't go for a walk, it's going to be hours before it comes down. So I decided to go for a walk after I did my insulin, and now I'm worried that 2 units and a walk might be too much. But I think we're going to start cooking dinner as soon as I get home anyway, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But yeah, just an update, 2 units and a walk, and we shall see. Back from my walk and it worked really well. I'm now 7.2 with a diagonal arrow going down. It's now about 10 minutes to dinner, so about to do my bolus insulin. We're having fajitas and I'm going to have 2 wraps worth of fajitas with chicken, peppers, onions and a little bit of cheese. So on the fajita packet it says 64 grams of carbs for 2, which would be 8 units of insulin for me, but wraps are one of those foods that I just react really strangely to, and again don't seem to absorb all the carbs, or they just release really slowly. And because I have got some insulin on board, I'm going to have 6 units. Hope I don't go low, and obviously monitor the situation after dinner and into the evening. So I'm just about to have my last meal snack thing of the day. I'm 7.1, so my insulin for dinner was luckily spot on. I'm gonna have a 67 gram bowl of Alpen muesli with some milk. 67's a bit random, but it's just because that's like a portion and a half of what it says on the box, and so the carbs are easy to calculate, so it's 42 grams of carbs. So that is 5 units of insulin for me, plus it's now time for my basal insulin, and then I will just settle down for the evening. So that is all I'm planning to eat for today. I hope you guys found this useful. What I eat in a day as a diabetic and what I eat as a rest day doesn't really change from what I eat on any other day, to be honest. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video and any videos you'd like to see in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!